You are listening to Real Voices with Ms.Alissar, and that's me. I am Alissar Nasr. I'm the Chief Academic Officer at Al Mawakib Schools, and today we're going to talk about parenting. Although this is a very wide subject and I find it very difficult to actually talk about it without deciding to limit to one area, I am open to listening to my beautiful guests today who are both wonderful alumni of ours. On my left here, I'm sitting with Iman Omrani. Iman is class of 1996 and she is the Chief Digital Advisor at Amazon Web Services. Very impressive. And to my right, I'm sitting with Aisha Lemheri, who is class of 2005, and she is the architectural engineer at Dubai Municipality. Welcome to you both.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
All right, so you're both moms. We all know that the word mom inherently carries with it so much responsibility and work. You both have children of both genders. Aisha, you have 3 boys and a girl. Iman, you have 2 boys and a girl. So today I want to talk about what we do as parents, not just as moms, that we mind when we are raising children and we think the approach we use is the same. So whether you're addressing your daughter or your son, there are a few things that are commonalities. So I'll throw at you what I think is a first one, and that is safety. So I think, when you're raising children, first and foremost, they have to feel safe. Safety it's a human need. Okay? So how do we make sure they feel safe as parents? Iman.
I think being a parent automatically means that you need to protect your children, which is why safety should be number one. We see them touching the electric sockets and we freak out. So this is, I guess, step number one. As we should, of course. And then, playing next to the swimming pool or, God knows, playing with a sharp object. Yes, when they're kids, sometimes they do not understand the concept of safety. I think we take over by protecting them. But then once they become slightly older and they begin to understand, you need to go down to their level, speak their language, because our language is sometimes too sophisticated for them, trying to make them understand what can potentially hurt them. So it starts with the simple things, but then as they grow older, depending on the situations that they're in,
they mature into it.
Yeah.
What about the other aspect? So we definitely address the physical safety part. What about the emotional safety? How do we make sure when we say safety, these kids also feel cared for all the time, no matter what happens? So even if they do make the mistake of doing something dangerous, how do we make sure even in that dangerous situation they feel cared for, they feel loved? What do you do, Aisha?
I would love them to always come back to me, even if they saw something dangerous or experienced a dangerous feeling, as you said, something emotional. I work on them being able to come and express. Ever since they're months old, they need to express themselves. So to me, expressing themselves, expressing their emotions, and me taking that in and embracing it is them feeling safe. So that's
beautiful.
So that's another feeling of safety. So emotionally, I can express myself without being shut down, or
that's gonna come along later also on the judgment spaces. Yeah. Do you feel that now that you both are deploying this as number one in how you parent both boys and girls, do you feel that when you were kids, whether it's you or people in your class or people you grew up around, do you feel that that was also as big a priority with our parents as it is for today's parents? I feel sometimes there's a discrepancy, and I want to address this. Because I always think, no matter how good your parents were, what you want to do, and you both know my parents, so you know they're amazing, and I know your parents. But no matter what you do, what you want to really try to be is an even better parent than your parents. So do you feel that when it comes to safety, we are more alert about how to create that environment for our children more than our parents were?
Yes, definitely.
Don't be afraid. This is a safe space.
Yeah. We are now, I feel like our generation, we're much more aware of emotional pressure, what words can do to a child if he heard it from his parents, his siblings, or even family or friends. We are much more aware of that. Maybe back in the days, it wasn't that important.
I agree with you. I feel that, even more your generation than even mine are more conscientious of what's going on.
I think it's slightly different in my case. We definitely grew up at different times, so I think the word overprotective was always there during my time. So the definition of also being a parent that's overprotective changed if you look at where we are today. So I think it's parenthood kind of remains the same, but the variables have changed because the culture has changed, the environment has changed. So even if you want to shelter them, or you want to protect them, or you want them to feel safe, the way you would want to do it, or the way I would want to do it with my kids, I remember how my mom was protective. I would have to look at different ways because whatever it is she did with me would no longer be applicable.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
The norms have changed. The parameters have changed.
Yes, everything has changed.
Interesting. Oh, okay. Which actually plays into a tweet I sent out today, which is, parenting is not static.
Definitely not.
You have to be open to looking at how you're doing right now, and then deciding that, wait, it doesn't suit what's currently going on, and choose another path. And therefore, there is no, people ask me, what's your parenting style? And I'm like, oh, you mean this week? Because, it changes.
It changes.
I was a different parent before I had a daughter that was diagnosed with diabetes. As you become a different parent. I was a different parent when they were at home versus when they traveled, when they went off to uni. So you have to say to yourself as a parent, it's okay. You don't have to be, same parent all the time. Look at it and be open to changing. Let's talk about number 2. So safety, we agree, important. And a kid who feels safe around their parents is going to be better off than not. Second is, and this is very important, I use it not just in parenting, but I also say to teachers in the school, deploy when you talk to kids. And it is talk with me, not to me. So in my mind, I think let's minimize talking to children, maximize talking with children, and they don't want you talking to them. They don't want you always...
They don't want the parent.
Not only this, and it's you don't have to advise me all the time, right? Can we fight the urge to advise? And this is applicable to not just you, the parent, but all the adult in their lives, because you can imagine with your children, it's not just you, it's your brothers, it's your sisters, it's your parents, it's the neighbors, it's the teachers. Everyone is parenting. So imagine how much advice they receive during one day. So, how do you transform talking from to with? What do you think?
To is more of orders, as you said, advice, order. With is more talking their language, as she mentioned earlier. I try to catch up like how they speak and how they interpret situations and try to link that. I'm a kid with my kids, so I definitely...
You're still the same as you were in school, Aisha, and I love it.
So yes, being with them in the field, you're not just... Because I'm always listening to what they say, what they do, and I feel that's how you talk with them.
I can talk to you. If I'm going to talk to you as an adult, I would say, don't go to this conference. I found it very boring. Think about it. You're wasting your time. What are you doing registering in conferences like this? All because you said to me, I'm thinking about going to a conference. If I'm going to talk with you, I'll say, oh, that's really nice. Why did you choose this conference? What interested you in this conference? So to a child, to their language is, oh, that's wonderful. You want to join Scouts? Tell me why. What did you see? So remember that the best way to engage in with is to ask questions. Engaging means ask questions and let them talk. Mish sit there and dictate what the situation would be. You agree?
Pick their brains, basically.
Do you think, but do you think talk with is actually not just for parents talking with kids? How about adults talking with adults? Do you find that sometimes you wish, especially the men in our lives, would talk with us more than talk to us?
Of course.
Yeah, definitely.
You've sensed it. So my advice to you is the next time you're in a situation like this, stop and reframe the conversation with that person, because sometimes you just don't know. I think that's where the word mansplaining came from. All right, so number 3. And I think this one is very important because I don't think it's applicable only to parents with kids. How do you feel, Aisha, if I say to you, Aisha, I saw what your sister was wearing and I liked it more than what you were wearing to the wedding? Or, hey, Iman, did you see how good and how much better your brother's kids are doing in school than yours? Not fun, huh?
Not at all.
All right, so don't compare me is number 3.
Yeah.
Children do not want to be compared, and neither do you as adults. So do you ever catch yourself? And all of you have to be objective here, whoever is listening. Do you catch yourself? Or if you didn't, can you start monitoring yourself more? And give me, when you've caught yourself saying things like, how come your friend got an A in her math exam, but you only managed an A minus?
Mm-hmm.
Have you been through this?
Yes. I call it bullying.
Actually, I've been through it the other way around.
How?
Jumana does that at times. So she says, how come she can go and I cannot go? They're all going and I'm not going. And I said, well, it doesn't matter whether they're going or they're not going. At the end of the day, it's an experience. This is our family time. If I'm going to allow you to go to every single invitation, what happens to us? Because we need to also stick together as a family. So we need to balance it out. So there are some examples where, yes, I do it at times, but I catch her more doing it. So I tackle it that way. But I started being more conscious when I do it because I know that she will not accept it because I do the same to her.
Interesting. Okay, very good. What about you, Aisha?
Yeah, the kids do it all the time. Like, how come they have sleepovers and we don't?
Okay, you guys are reversing this. I need you to stay focused on the kids' needs here.
Yes.
And the kids' needs have you, Inti, when you were in school, has a teacher ever said to you, why don't you focus more like the person next to you? And I ended up with like 2 top students, 2 no problem students. But there must have been a time. I know, look, I had it. I went through it. I went through it in a way that I hated because I was the top of my class, and the teacher actually used it when they talked to my friends, and it created an animosity, which I diluted because I expressed I hated it. So teachers would say, in those days, it used to be not unacceptable like it is now, where teacher would say, look at Alissar, she did well in the math exam. Why don't you all do like her? Or masalan, they're passing out the grades and they read out the grades out loud, right? And then, Iman, 85, Alissar, 90, bravo, Alissar. Not good. I did not feel good. Even though I was supposed to be at the positive receiving end of it, it did not feel good. It felt like I'm being compared, and I don't want to be. This is not how I can make my social relations work with my friends. We don't function together like that. We don't accept or reject each other based on what a math teacher tells us. So these experiences can reflect negatively even on the ones who are on the supposed positive side of it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So do you remember something like this?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Throughout my childhood and even growing up. But that's what made me aware of what I'm doing right now with the kids as a mother. Because I used to get compared with my sister. Amna did this and you. Or look at Amna, her grades were better than yours. Or regardless,
Something like that.
something like that. Even in class. Yeah, but I feel like I used to react differently, of course, than now. And now I call it more of social pressure. Now with Instagram and social media, people do end up having that social pressure. She's taking her kids, I don't know which school, and they're doing that. And yeah. So if you're not comparing your kids, you feel like you compare yourself to others.
Oh, you're measuring yourself by others' standards so
now
that you
this
are...
happens.
It's tough. But at the same time, I think, Yani, if you are at ease and your conscience is clear about how you're doing things, you should be okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, we move to number 4. So number 4 is trust. Think back to your days as students. You want to be trusted. You want to be trusted. Every child wants to be trusted. They want to know you have faith in them. They want to know that even when they make mistakes, because we trust them, we know that even from the mistake, learning will happen, so we are okay with it. So it goes back to feeling safe about making that mistake and being trustworthy. So, for example, a lot of people talk to me about, Ms.Alissar, in other schools, they don't allow cell phones. Why don't you search them and take away their cell phones in school? And I say, you want me to take away their cell phones and search them and tell them you'll be punished or suspended if I catch you with a cell phone? They said, yes. I said, no, that's not going to happen in Mawakib. Why? It's like, because I trust the students. So I say to them, I know you have your cell phone on you. If you use it inappropriately, you suffer the consequences. But if you don't, I trust you. And when I tell them or ask them what is inappropriately, what do you think? They know what that means. And so let's assume with all of this, one of them makes a mistake and uses it inappropriately. So deal with that case. Take that case. Yeah. Well, deal with it. Actually, guess what just got thrown at you? An opportunity to teach. An opportunity to help someone grow. Instead of, yalla, go, you're suspended. What an easy fix. What a fix, because I don't want to spend the time to do the better thing, which is learn with you. So, how do you deal with trusting your kids, and how far do you go with it? And are you afraid of mistakes they may make because you trust them? You have a teenage kid right now and one who's in uni, so it's more challenging than Aisha's kids who are still young, but not less happening.
Yeah. Okay.
So what would you comment on that? Is it difficult?
It's a challenge, but at the same time, again, parenting is something that you're going to learn every single day of your life as long as you have your kids. So it's not one size fits all. You're going to learn with every experience. I think with Ammar, it's going to be a different experience. With Jumana, it's a different experience. He's in university. He's on his own. And I'm practicing, let's just say, tough love with him when it comes to trust, because he's on his own over there and he needs to learn a few things. If I decide to do everything for him, I have to trust the fact that he's going to learn to do things on his own. That's one way of dealing with it. Then when it comes to Jumana, because again, she's a teenager, she's learning, but at the same time, she's at a point where if I tell her what to do, it's not going to always work out. So I have to take the risk in a way. It's fine. Let her make the mistake and then I can have the conversation with her.
That's great, because that means she feels safe enough that even when she makes the mistake, you trust her to follow
And she will
up and
know when
fix
she's
it.
done something wrong. She will know that she's done something wrong. It's not that she doesn't know. And then we can have the conversation. But if we stop everything, as you said, you cannot jail the city.
Mm.
You have to, they have to spread their wings in a way. But if they fall, we're here to catch them. And if they fall, they're going to learn their lesson. If not, we can help them learn that lesson as well. So I think trust, in a sense, yes, it is scary for a parent at times, but it's a necessity. That's the only way they're going to learn.
Think back, because when we were children, that's what we wanted from our parents, no? And
Yeah.
when I think back, and again, I had model parents, but yeah, I didn't feel well or I didn't feel good when I said I wanted to do something and they said no, simply because they were afraid it might go haywire. Versus, let me do it. And then if it does go haywire, I know you're there to, of course, there are red lines in all of this, but
Yeah.
in general, let me do it and let me, own my outcomes. So your kids are way too young still,
Yeah.
Aisha, but there's still an element of trust
Yes.
needed here. How do you deal with it?
Mohammed and I always had this conversation when they were younger about, I should, not overprotect. I should limit some things so they won't get exposed to things. He keeps telling me, no, everything throughout the years, everything is available everywhere. Whether you try to catch them or put them, try to protect their ears or their eyes, everything is available everywhere. So you're going to have to learn to let them be exposed. I want them to know when to say no to things. I want them to learn to say, oh, this is not good for me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to.
Beautiful. So instead of you saying the no, you're heading towards them making that conclusion.
And
amazing.
that's Mohammed taught me that, actually.
Mohammed is your
my
husband.
Because I keep telling them, no, I don't want YouTube and I don't know what, like, they're kids, they're going to learn bad words, or let them be exposed. I mean, actually, as you said at the beginning, it's an opportunity for me to teach them something.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to open
have
their
that
eye,
conversation.
To have that conversation. So, yeah, even
I
when
agree
they
100%.
play with older kids, like with older kids, I don't know, I can't, like, I learned, he taught me this and I started doing it. Let them be exposed. It's and for them to reach a point where they tell the other kid, no, that's not right.
That's amazing.
Oh, no, I don't want to watch this. That's not...
Okay, but what happens if they, make a mistake and not say the no?
Mm-hmm.
They could.
But I should give them the trust.
You deal with it though,
Yeah,
right?
you deal with it. You deal with it.
That's
That
beautiful.
goes down to
You should have advised me
talking
when I
with-
was raising my younger.
Yeah, you should really teach them that mentality when they're young. You stop yourself. You know that the end of this road is something bad, or you stop.
That's the
you-
risk.
Yeah.
That's the risk
That's
we
the
have
risk.
to take.
But
yeah.
that's what comes with trust, even with adults, no? Because as adults, if I'm gonna trust people in my life, then I am taking a risk, whether
True.
it's them exposing my weaknesses or them taking advantage of me. So the risk factor comes with trust always. Either you bank on the right people or you don't, right? But there's a risk involved. So number 5, we go back to something you spoke about, and I said we'll get to it later, which is free of judgment. So how do we create spaces within our homes where the kids feel they can say anything and feel they're not going to be judged based on this thing that they say? How much easier would everything be? And I know that we live in a pretty much judgmental society. The West does too, but I'm not concerned with them right now. So how do we raise kids, at least within our home, to battle for themselves? Because in our home, we're going to create that free of judgment space. Ana matlan, I had my share of failures with my children that way. It took me a while before I realized that I was doing it even. Because you always have this urge to say, no, that's, okay, no, someone does this, I don't like it. So you've already judged instead of talking it out. So creating that space in the house first. But then when they go outside,
They're
they
on
may
their own.
or may not find it. So, but at least you've set them up to know there are places where people will not judge, and that's at home. Do we agree that as parents, we have to give them that space?
Yes, we do.
How do you do it?
It's not easy, but we do. And especially as they grow older, this element of judgment becomes even more, I wouldn't say important, but it impacts them a lot more because they start understanding how people are. Their cousins, their friends, their teachers, the people they talk with. People are always talking about other people, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Okay. And the thing is, the first thing they need to remember is, at least for me, the most important thing is respect. But respect first starts with self-respect. So they need to first know themselves. They need to know who they are. They need to understand who they are. If they want to be like others, they're going to be like somebody else, but their shell is different. So everybody has their own thing. So first they need to start respecting themselves and then respecting others. So when they come and they say, oh, look at what she was wearing, for example, I'm like, would you like somebody to say the same thing about you?
Right. Very nice.
So it boils down to respect, whether it's opinions, whether it's, and I had this discussion with Jumana, I remember, and I said, people are always going to have opinions. You can't change that. But you need to learn how to deal with those people. Just because they have opinions doesn't mean that it's true. Because at the end of the day, it's an opinion, it's not a fact. You know yourself better, and you need to know that. They have their opinion, you respect that opinion, and you leave it be. So that's where it's difficult at times to accept, but you have to say it once, twice, 3 times.
It comes through sooner or later.
Yeah.
I know because I have adult children, and a lot of the things I used to say, but didn't know if the lesson was going across or not, because not all of it you can practice in life, right? You try to model as much as you can, but you don't know if they're watching or not. Are they seeing? Are they not seeing me? How I act, how I do? The good news is they do, because as adults, I'm seeing a lot of the lessons manifest, even though I didn't know they would. So stay positive, both of you. All right. What about you, Aisha? So then, your kids are still small, but it's never too early to show them that here in this family.
Yeah.
And you said
it's conversation. Speak out. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you like, how you think, and be a listener. Like, first thing, when you judge someone, you cut them off, or you immediately start to judge what they're saying or whatever story they're telling.
I give it another name. I say when you do that, you steal their voice.
You steal their voice.
You completely hijack their voice. Because if they're going to feel judged in one conversation, you've just ended the next 10 conversations.
They'll think twice before they speak.
And it'll take you a while before you can bring them back. And the only way you can do that is to actually have an honest conversation with a child and say, I was wrong. To say that. All right, so.
And when it comes to the outer world, we got raised, or back in the days, like, what would people say? Oh, no, so people. This is a major thing that I'm not mentioning, or even my mindset, it's not there. So to my kids, you're not doing it to impress people or to people to see or say or give their opinion. You're doing it for yourself. You feel like doing it, do it.
Well, how do your parents feel about this? It's a struggle.
It's a struggle. I can't open up topics like this with my parents.
I know. And they were awesome parents.
They were awesome
But it's just
parents.
A different generation.
Different variables.
Sets, different parameters, as we said before. That's amazing. All right. Alternative language. See, I am a big fan of the belief that words are powerful. And anything you say, it's about how you say it. And their impact can take you one way or another, and it can be positive and it can be negative. And so I believe we all need a shift in language and how we talk to kids. For example, in a classroom, I would often say to teachers, can you stop saying, do you have any questions? Because when I stop in front of a class, stand in front of a class and say, do you have any questions? What I'm sending out as a message is, I explained it well enough, so you shouldn't have any questions. But if you have any questions, who are you? Who has a question? Versus, if I say it differently, I say, what questions do you have? So here I've set you up to expect. I expect your questions. I've already given you the safety you need to ask them. You understand? So this is one example. Another one would be, this could be at home and this could be in a class. Oh, it's not that hard. Okay. So if I think it's a bit difficult for me, guess what? I'm not going to tell you anymore. You've just hijacked my voice again. Versus you say, I know you're capable of doing difficult things. Let's tackle it together. All right. What's wrong with you? We don't talk like that. Nope. That's not a good way to say it. So how about take the time to rephrase what you just said and find the kind words to say it. So instead of accusation, conversation. All right. And the last one I'm going to mention is you come home, especially you at this age, and you find the kitchen is in a mess or the sitting room is in a mess. All the toys are everywhere. And it's got, look at you guys, what a mess you made. What's this? Versus, oof, it looks like you guys had a lot of fun. It looks like you had a good time. Let's figure out now how to fix it and arrange everything and clean it up. And look at the difference. What do you think? Nice, huh?
Nice.
You like these, huh?
But it won't come up to you right away.
All right, but it's okay to build your own repertoire. So I just gave you 4 examples. Because, you know, when this podcast is over, you can go home and come up with your... Don't come up with the both columns at the same time. Come up with one set. And then think what others. So I'm suggesting that all of us sit down and talk about how do we change our language. Look, we're talking about things in common for boys and girls. All of what we've discussed so far is common. If I want to talk not common, I would say, can we stop saying to a boy, oh, you throw a ball like a girl? Really? Or let's stop saying to boys, man up. Or let's stop saying to girls, oh, you look so cute. Versus, you're looking nice today. You're fresh, you're cleaned up. Instead of, you look like a princess. Changing our language. صح?
Building confidence.
Yeah. And so one big thing about changing language is, can we cut the sarcasm?
Yeah.
Can we cut the sarcasm? Sarcasm, even as adults, has a tendency to cut us. Yeah? So now imagine kids. So your kids are coming, لايكو شوفوا الفيلسوف. Okay, حكى بدري. In English, things like what? Oh, not another one of your ideas, Omar. Okay, so sarcasm finds its way into our conversations sometimes as adults, and it bothers us. So imagine the scar it leaves on kids. So my sentence has always been, and I hope you remember it when you walk out of here, and it's, sarcasm is actually cruelty masquerading as humor. All right? So be careful with how you draw the lines between a sense of humor and using sarcasm to get the laugh. And that laugh that you get, at whose expense is it? If it's your children, you've just committed major felony. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So do we agree that language and usage of it? Do you remember something you used to hear as a child, whether it's from adults in your life, so it doesn't have to be your parents, that scarred you or stayed with you till now because you didn't like how someone said it to you?
Name calling.
Like what?
So this happened in school, and there were a bunch of boys that called me a name in Arabic, and that stayed with me for quite some time.
Look at that. That's bullying.
That's
right there.
bullying, head on bullying.
You think whatever they called you could have been said in a different way that would have been okay with you?
No.
Oh, so that's not sarcasm, but that's like absolute impoliteness too.
Yes.
Who are these boys? I go after them now.
It's okay.
You tell me after the podcast. Okay.
Well, I'm better, so I forgive them.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Aisha.
Yeah, sarcasm. You hear it now. Like, I see it sometimes and it hurts. Like some parents say to their kids, but it's not funny.
No, it's not.
It's not. It hurts. And I'm aware of that. An incident happened in school as well. A teacher told me, I was an A+ student in physics. And I remember signing up for a competition. And she came up to me like, you? Competition?
Oh my God.
Yeah, because what?
Did I fire her?
I think she was fired.
Yes!
Because I was local. It's like, yani, local girls.
She said that?
Yeah.
Quelle audace in French, yani. Wow.
Yeah, like she was just being sarcastic. Are you sure you want to?
Wow. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But no, I did not compete.
Oh, so Aisha, but you've seen parents use sarcasm. And I want to say, to be fair to parents a lot, or to adults, sometimes they do it and they have no idea that the effect you're going to leave behind is not something you can easily fix. It stays, you know. I consider myself an intelligent adult, and I still remember something someone said to me that hurt me. And so we go back to saying that number 6, language and attention to words and recognizing and understanding the impact they leave. The same way you yearn and search for positive words that make you feel better and that lift you, the same opposite effect happens with negativity. And do we agree that anything you say to relay a message that is reprimandative or that, you know, wants to fix a situation can be said without implying supremacy or inadequacy in the other person? We agree?
Yes.
Excellent. So number 7, there are no wrong questions. And this I also say within my... And everything funny that I like to use in parenting for both boys and girls, I also deploy when I talk to teachers and staff about how to work it with kids. And that is, there is no wrong question. You cannot be anywhere and assume that if a kid asks a question, you could reply with, that's stupid.
There's no such thing as a stupid
wait,
question.
why are you asking me this? I just explained it. There are no wrong questions, boy or girl, whoever it is. There is no wrong question, there is no stupid question, and there is no bad question. Labeling these questions as silly or bad will again lead to hijacking their voice. You are squashing their courage to speak out. You are using sarcasm to make it even more severe, the situation. So be aware of your routine reaction. Be aware. How are you reacting when they ask a question? Your patience is going to be tested. Remember, when your kids were young, and to every situation, there were like 17,000 whys that followed. Either you answer every why and you take the time, or you say, stop asking me. And guess what? The next time, the 10 whys will become 5. And the one after that, the 5 whys will become 1. And then they'll stop asking you. And maybe they'll ask someone else. And maybe you don't want the answers from someone else. Or maybe they just stop talking. All right? So we agree on this. And when you observe yourself as parents with your kids, how are you with your responses to questions, no matter what the question is? And I know teenage level are different from kid level, and adult level questions are even different from both. So, but
it's different from the 7-year-old to the 19-year-old.
Yeah.
So I get a message from Ammar. Actually, he gives me a call from the US. He's like, Mama, what can I buy to put in the fridge? I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? He's like, what do I buy to put in the fridge? I'm like, why are you asking this question? Because I have to understand in order for me to answer it in a better way. And he's like, well, we have the fridge now. We've moved into the apartment. What do we usually buy to put in the fridge? I'm like, Ammar, listen. What is it that you want to eat? Are you planning on eating at home? Are you planning on, ordering takeout all the time? Because depending on what you want to do, then you can you can go and buy stuff that can usually go in the fridge. So yes, you have to be patient, very patient, but also try to understand why the question came to begin with. The 7-year-old, yes, asks the same question 50 times. And I think I have the patience for 15 of them. And then beyond that, I kind of lose it. But you're right. I need to be more conscious of making them still come back and still feel that they're safe to come back and ask the question, no matter how stupid it is.
Or how stupid you think it is.
Exactly, yes.
Oh,
Aisha.
I have Talib, the eldest, is 8 years old.
Habib
He
Qalbi.
asks a lot of questions and he challenges you with the questions. MashaAllah. He would question, why did God do or give us a left hand for everything we're doing? And we use our right hand for everything.
Wow.
Like this one, he was, I don't know, 5-6 years old. So imagine the questions now, and I can imagine the questions coming as he grows. But again, you have to be a good listener. You have to always have to. When they ask you the same question over and over again, maybe your answer did not fulfill what they wanted to know, or the
100%.
dots.
It's not maybe, it is.
The dots are not connecting. So again, have a conversation, dig deep in his mind, try to know what.
Ask them questions.
Ask them
about,
questions.
Like you did, about where they want to go.
Yes. And as you said, if you stop listening or you stop answering their questions, I've witnessed that. Muhammad was busy, my husband, and Talib loves to ask questions. Like to him, that's his love language, I feel. Like he just wants to sit and ask and get answers and get asked. So Muhammad didn't have time to do that a lot with him. So I remember when he catches those 10 minutes, he's like bombards him with a lot of questions. Yeah. And then Muhammad stood and like, yeah, give him the time. He's just seeking attention. So sometimes the questions are not the question and the answer. They just want to connect.
The conversation
good,
to have.
actually.
Yeah, they just want to connect. They want to feel listened and loved.
Agree 100%. And to that, I would add to you, and be careful. Not being there to answer questions is okay, because you can postpone an answer.
Yeah.
But don't forget that they asked.
Yeah.
So it's okay if you cannot answer on the spot, but don't say, I don't want to answer, and don't say, not now. Say, I heard you. I got your question. I will get back to you. Let me just finish what I'm doing right now, and then go back and get to them before they sleep.
Acknowledge
And
first.
acknowledge and answer.
Before they come back and say, you said you're gonna.
Yeah,
No, you
don't do that.
Yeah.
And then if your son or daughter are asking the same question over and over, rethink your answer. So you're right about that big time. So if you're going to keep saying the same thing, you're not convincing. Try another approach, try another tone, try another body language issue, anything to change it. 8 and 9, I'm going to combine together, because if you've heard me talk anywhere, then you know that no matter what I'm doing, no matter what I'm saying, 2 words will always creep into my conversation, and those are kindness and compassion. So both our sons and daughters have to be raised kind and have to be raised compassionate. I cannot think of a situation anywhere, in whatever context, where controversy was in play, where kindness and compassion were not the ultimate solution. And the only way to raise kind and compassionate kids is to model kindness and compassion. Right?
Yep.
So how do we do this with our children? So I will hear from you, and then I'll tell you what I think would be a good way to do it. How do you do it? How do you teach your kids? Do you want them to be kind and compassionate?
Definitely.
So how do you build it into them?
I think it is a challenge, because you need to find the right opportunities. You need to lead by example, but leading by example means that you need to do it in front of them, and you need an opportunity for you to represent that kindness or compassion. There are very simple things. So for example, donating stuff. So donating toys, taking them...
So teaching them to give.
Teaching them to give, teaching them to share. So I'll give you a very simple example. I was actually surprised. I was humbled when my Jamal's teacher, she sent me a message and she said, Jamal was in class today and he was with another girl She has a hearing disability, and the way she speaks is quite different. And she said he was so supportive, and he had 2 gems that he had received from school. I think he was good or something. He took 1 gem and he actually gave it to her throughout the class. So I'm like, thank you so much for telling me, because this means that we are doing something right at the end of the day.
This is way more important than he did well in math, isn't it?
Of course.
Yep. What about you, Aisha? So we heard we need opportunities where we can model kindness and compassion.
And lead by example.
Yeah, and you did it. You must have done it in front of Jamal for him to deploy.
Definitely lead with example. But in my case, it's a little bit different.
Why?
My girl is a kid with determination. She has Down syndrome. So I remember opening up the subject to them and letting them know, because they didn't know. Like Talib was 6, I think, when I opened up the topic to him, and Saif was 5 or 7 and 6. And Sahil was there, the third boy, and and to me, it was challenging and hard to explain what is Down syndrome, or who are kids with determination? Why are they different? Why are they born different? So ever since I opened up the topic with them, and it's all about accepting, it's all about being kind, and being kind to your sister. You're going to have to support her. You're going to have to love her no matter what. And she was a newborn. She was maybe months old. So we love her, and you're going to love her regardless. You're going to teach her, going to help her. And that's how it started. To me, I had that opportunity to grow it even more with
That's incredible.
And it feels good now, because I do get calls from the school about Saif and about Talib. And when I see them with other kids, and of course they come with Ghaya to her center when they don't have school to help her with her physiotherapy. I take them to occupational therapy. They see other kids with Down syndrome. So to me, it's I have a big opportunity to inject kindness and love, and they see me do it all the time with Ghaya, with other kids as well. And I do, and to me personally, ever since Ghaya came to my life, I love to volunteer. I love to go to community services where Ghaya goes. They call me a lot and they tell me, we love your presence, please come, bring your kids. So to me, I'm blessed, and it's helping me a lot. And I do see the reflection on the boys.
Aisha, how awesome are you? And I am floored by how awesome you are right now. Like I'm in awe.
People
always
naturally.
bring out things like, do you have role models, Ms.Alissar? And I don't believe in role models, but today you are my role model. So I think you can have a role model every day based on what you need in your life. And I'm in absolute admiration of what you go through and what you do. And I've seen Ghaya, and I can't wait till she joins us in school, because I hope she will bring out the kindness and compassion in everyone.
Exactly.
And that's the gift that she brings. No? It's amazing.
It is.
So Iman touched on something, and it is what I think, and it's you have to create scenarios. You have to. If you don't see them, create them. Masalan, how do you expect your child to be kind if you're screaming at the nanny?
Yeah.
Right? How do you expect your child to be compassionate if you pass by someone in need and you call them dirty? Or you are in a situation in a restaurant and you are mean to the waiter. Watch out. Observe what you're doing. Right? All right. And the last one is connected, and that is, you see it from where you are. Love, 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 and more love. There is not enough love. And you have small kids, so I'm going to tell you right now, and you have Jamal. Anyone who tells you come on, he's 8, he shouldn't sleep with you in the bed, I say to you, if he feels like it, let him. Come on, he's 19, khalas, he doesn't need a hug every 2 seconds. Every chance you get, hug, if that's what they need. So the stereotypes, girls need more affection. Not true.
Not true.
All children need affection. It doesn't matter if
They
they're
all
a
need
girl
the
or a
love.
boy.
Yeah.
And when you start off by saying girls need more affection, you're already contributing to the rift and the gap between boys' needs and girls' needs. So boys, let's agree, need as much attention and love as the girls do. And that's why this has made it to my list of the things we do in common. Do you all agree?
Agreed.
So let's go over the all for our listeners to remember حتى ما يعملوا so they don't feel they have to keep pressing rewind. So I'm going to say our 9 common grounds. So we believe these things should be embedded in raising boys and girls. So safety. Talk with them, not to them. Don't compare me, Mom. Don't compare me, Dad. I don't like to play football like my neighbor. Trust. 4. 5. Spaces free of judgment. 6. Let's find alternative language and understand the power of words. 7. There are no wrong, bad, or stupid questions. And let's incorporate number 8 in everything we do, kindness and compassion. That's what we want to raise, kind and compassionate boys and girls. And no matter what,
Love.
Love.
Love and love.
And more love.
And love. I am so proud of the parents, women, wives, everything you can name that you've turned into. And I consider you blessings in my life. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here. And I've learned a lot personally. I will take every single piece of advice and I will learn from it. And parenthood is parenthood.
It's not static, remember.
Not at
all.
all.
So if one way is not working, get on a new path and move forward. Aisha.
Yeah, thank you so much. I enjoyed this talk. And again, parenting is challenging, but you gotta have to be all in.
Yeah.
All in.
With that note, all of you who are parents, say this to yourself every day.